All right, so you ready to dive into some AI?
Let's do it.
This is going to be a serious deep dive by the looks of things.
Yeah, you've given me, wow, a lot to go through.
Seems like you're really trying to cover all the bases, huh? You've got like news articles and technical deep dives, even some philosophy thrown in there.
I mean, it's a pretty huge topic, right?
Yeah.
And it really feels like well, AI is touching everything these days.
It is. It really is. Okay, so maybe we should start with like the basics. I see in one of these articles they define AI as the attempt to give machines cognitive abilities similar to our own,
Right, right.
which, I mean, that sounds pretty straightforward, but what does that actually look like?
Well, think about what makes us intelligent, learning, reasoning, being able to solve problems. AI is basically trying to replicate those same abilities in machines.
So less robots taking over the world and more like, I don't know, giving machines the tools to kind of think like we do.
Exactly. And the thing is, machines, they don't learn from experience like we do. They learn from data and massive amounts of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. One of the articles here, I think it was this one, talked about an AI system that can diagnose certain types of cancer from medical
Oh,
images.
yeah, I saw that one. It's pretty incredible, right?
It is. It's actually, it's even more accurate than human doctors in some cases.
It's amazing how far it's come.
It really is. So, okay, we've got AI that can diagnose cancer, but I also see you've got articles about, machine learning and deep learning, NLP.
Right. There's a lot of different, I guess you could say, flavors of AI.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, maybe we should try to unpack some of those. Like, what even is machine learning?
So at its core, machine learning is all about using data to teach algorithms how to learn.
Okay, so algorithms. That sounds a little complicated.
It might sound a bit technical, but actually it's a pretty simple concept.
Yeah.
Imagine you're teaching a kid to, I don't know, to tell the difference between different fruits.
Okay.
You show them like an apple. You say, this is an apple. Then you show them an orange. You say, this is an orange. And over time, the kid learns to recognize those fruits based on, their shape and color, right?
Right, right.
So in machine learning, the algorithm is like the kid, and the data is like, well, it's like the fruit.
Got it. So the algorithm's learning by example, just like the kid.
Exactly. And just like there are different ways to teach a kid, there are different ways to teach an algorithm.
Okay, so like what?
Well, one of the articles you sent, it was about spam filters, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a perfect example of what we call supervised learning. In supervised learning, the algorithm is trained on data that's already been labeled. So in the case of spam filters, the algorithm is given a bunch of emails that have already been marked as spam or not spam, and it learns to identify those
So
patterns.
it's kind of like the algorithm's given the answers during training.
Right, exactly. And then there's unsupervised learning.
In sup-
Yeah, so in unsupervised learning, the algorithm has to figure things out on its own.
like without any help.
Pretty much. It's given a bunch of data, but it's not told what to look for. It has to kind of find the patterns itself.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. What about reinforcement learning? That was in one of the articles too.
Ah, yes. Reinforcement learning. That's all about rewards and punishments.
So like training a dog.
Exactly. You reward the dog when it does something good, and you discourage it when it does something bad. In reinforcement learning, the algorithm learns by trial and error, basically. It tries different things and gets rewarded or punished based on the outcome.
So different learning styles for different algorithms. That's pretty cool. Okay, what about deep learning? That's like the buzzword of the moment.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's talking about deep learning these days.
So what's so special about it?
Well, deep learning is a type of machine learning, but it's inspired by the human brain.
Okay, I've heard that before, but I still don't really get it.
So imagine your brain has a bunch of interconnected neurons, right?
Right.
In deep learning, we create artificial neural networks that are kind of like, they're kind of like simplified versions of the brain.
Okay, and what's the point of that?
Well, by connecting these artificial neurons in layers, we can create algorithms that are capable of learning. They can learn really complex patterns.
Oh, I see. So it's all about the layers.
Exactly. The more layers, the deeper the network, and the more complex the patterns it can learn.
Fascinating. And what kind of things can deep learning do?
Oh, all sorts of things. One of your articles mentioned something called convolutional neural networks, or CNNs for short.
Yeah.
They're especially good at image recognition.
CNNs. Got it.
They're used in everything from self-driving cars to facial recognition software.
Wow. So deep learning really is a big deal.
It is, and it's driving a lot of the advancements we're seeing in areas like natural language processing or NLP.
Oh, yeah. NLP. That's one of the things I'm most interested in. The idea that machines can understand and generate human language, it's just mind-blowing.
It's pretty amazing. And deep learning has made some huge breakthroughs in that area. Think about things like voice assistants, like Siri or Alexa.
Oh, yeah.
They rely heavily on NLP. And even the chatbots you see online, those are powered by NLP too.
So we've got machine learning, deep learning, NLP. It's like a whole family tree of AI concepts.
It is.
But before we get too lost in the branches, you mentioned that AI has a pretty long history, right?
Yeah, it goes back further than you might think.
So where did it all begin? Like, when did people first start talking about AI?
Well, the term artificial intelligence itself was coined in the 1950s.
1950s, wow. So not that long ago, really.
No, not really. But even back then, people were already dreaming about creating machines that could think like humans.
Okay, so were they building, like, robots and stuff back then?
Not quite robots as we think of them today. Early research focused more on things like playing checkers and solving math problems.
Oh, okay. So not quite the stuff of science fiction just yet.
Not yet. But even those early efforts were really ambitious. One of your articles mentioned something called the Dartmouth Workshop.
The Dartmouth Workshop.
Okay. It happened in 1956, and it's considered by many to be, well, to be the birthplace of AI as a field of study. It was at that workshop that researchers really started trying to figure out how to make machines think.
I see. So the seeds were planted back then. But I've also heard that AI has gone through these, like, winters, periods where progress stalled and funding dried up.
That's right, yeah. AI hasn't had a smooth ride. There have been periods of rapid progress, followed by what we call AI winters, where the hype outpaced reality.
So what happened? Why did those winters happen?
Well, one of the biggest challenges has always been computing power. Early AI systems were very limited by the technology available at the time.
They had the ideas, but not the tools to make them a reality.
Exactly. But something changed in recent years. The incredible growth in computing power, combined with the availability of massive data sets, it's really fueled the AI boom we're seeing today.
So it's like AI finally has the muscle it needs to flex its potential.
You could say that.
Okay, so let's talk about that potential. Your sources are packed with examples of how AI is already changing the game in, like, pretty much every industry.
Yeah, it feels like AI is everywhere these days. You've got articles here about AI and healthcare, finance, transportation, you name it.
It really is. It's not just a tech trend anymore. It's like woven into the fabric of our lives.
Okay, so let's break down some of these impacts. I know you're really interested in healthcare, and I see a lot of articles here about AI in medicine.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, right? Like one of these articles talks about how AI is being used to personalize cancer treatments.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. That sounds like a game changer. It really is.
Yeah.
So, traditional cancer treatment is often like a one-size-fits-all approach, but AI can help create, well, it can create custom treatment plans for each patient.
Wow. So it's like instead of just getting a standard prescription, you're getting a treatment that's tailored to your specific needs.
Exactly. And it goes even further than that. AI is also being used to speed up drug discovery.
Oh, wow. One of the articles mentioned that AI is being used to find potential drug candidates for Alzheimer's.
Right, right. Which is, it's a disease that's been notoriously difficult to treat.
Yeah, for sure.
But AI is giving researchers new tools to analyze massive amounts of data and potentially find breakthroughs.
That's amazing. So we've got AI personalizing healthcare, speeding up drug discovery. What other industries are being like really impacted by AI?
Well, finance is a big one. You've highlighted a bunch of articles about AI-powered trading systems.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about those. They can like analyze market trends and make trades way faster than any human trader, right?
That's right. And, it can be a little unnerving to think about machines making those kinds of decisions.
It does make you wonder, like, are we really ready to trust AI with our investments?
Well, it's not like the machines are just running wild. These systems are still designed and monitored by humans.
Right, of course.
The goal isn't to replace human expertise, but to kind of, to augment it. AI can process huge amounts of data and spot patterns that humans might miss.
Okay, so it's like a partnership between human and machine.
Yeah, exactly. And beyond trading, AI is also being used in other areas of finance, like fraud detection and risk assessment.
Oh, that makes sense. One of the articles I sent you talked about how AI algorithms can, like, analyze transaction patterns and spot anything fishy.
Right, exactly. They can detect anomalies that might indicate fraudulent activity. It's especially important these days with so many financial transactions happening online.
It's like having a superpowered detective working behind the scenes to keep our money safe.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like that. And speaking of detectives, AI is also playing a bigger role in law enforcement these days.
Oh, yeah, like with facial recognition software.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a powerful tool, but it's also, well, it's also a bit controversial. There are definitely concerns about privacy and potential bias with those kinds of systems.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. It seems like with every advancement in AI, there are these ethical questions that we need to grapple with.
you're absolutely right. Technology always has societal implications. It's not just about the tech itself, but about how we use it.
Okay, so we've talked about healthcare and finance. What about transportation? You mentioned self-driving cars earlier.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the most exciting areas of AI development right now.
I remember the first time I saw a self-driving car on the road, I was like, is this real life?
It's like something out of a movie,
Hmm.
but it's becoming more and more common, and AI is at the heart of it all.
So how does it actually work? I mean, one of these articles mentioned something called sensor fusion, but I don't really understand what that means.
Yeah, it sounds complicated, but basically it means that self-driving cars use like a bunch of different sensors to see the world around them.
So like cameras and radar and stuff.
Exactly. And all that data from the sensors gets fed into, well, it gets fed into an AI system that processes it and creates a 3D map of the environment.
So it's like the car's building its own understanding of the world in real time.
Exactly. And based on that understanding, the AI system can make decisions about, how to steer, how to accelerate or brake, how to interact with other cars and pedestrians.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. And, there are a lot of potential benefits to self-driving cars. Increased safety, reduce traffic congestion.
Oh, yeah, and one of your articles mentioned how it could make transportation more accessible for people who can't drive themselves.
Right, exactly. There are still challenges to overcome, of course, but it's clear that self-driving cars are going to be a big part of our future.
It's amazing to think about how much AI is changing transportation, but it's not just these like big flashy applications, right?
No, not at all.
You've got articles here about how AI is transforming even the more mundane parts of our lives, like customer service.
Oh, absolutely. Chatbots and virtual assistants are becoming more sophisticated all the time.
I've actually been impressed with some of the chatbots I've interacted with lately.
Yeah, me too. It's amazing how far they've come.
Okay, so AI is transforming healthcare, finance, transportation, customer service. It really feels like this technology is touching every aspect of our lives.
It is. And the crazy thing is, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with AI.
So, where do we go from here? I mean, what does the future hold for AI?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? One of the most interesting concepts that keeps popping up is this idea of artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
AGI. That sounds pretty sci-fi.
It does, doesn't it?
Eh,
What does it even mean?
Well, it refers to machines that have like human level intelligence and consciousness, machines that can perform any intellectual task that a human can. So not just specialized AI that's good at one thing, but true intelligence across the board.
Exactly. Now, true AGI is still theoretical, but it's a really fascinating area of research.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And, it raises all sorts of profound questions about, well, about consciousness, ethics, the nature of intelligence itself.
It's pretty mind-blowing to think about. It's like, opening Pandora's box of technological advancement.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah,
But even without reaching AGI, the AI we have today is already raising some important questions, especially about the future of work.
right. Yeah. You flagged a lot of articles that talk about AI taking jobs and automating tasks. I think a lot of people are pretty worried about that. It does feel like there's this like looming fear of robots taking over everything.
Yeah, I get it. It's a pretty common anxiety these days.
I mean, you even sent me an article that predicted like millions of jobs could be lost to AI.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that
I
one.
did.
It's definitely something to think about.
So is it all doom and gloom? Are the robots really going to steal all our jobs?
I don't think it's quite that simple. It's true that as AI gets more capable, it's going to automate some tasks that are currently done by humans.
Okay, so which jobs are most at risk?
Well, jobs that involve a lot of routine tasks are probably the most vulnerable. Things like manufacturing, data entry, maybe even some customer service roles.
Right, the kinds of jobs that are already being automated to some extent.
Exactly. But the thing is, while AI will eliminate some jobs, it'll also create new ones. Think about all the people who are building these AI systems,
Oh, yeah. We're going to need people to design them, program them, maintain them.
right? There's a huge demand for data scientists, AI engineers, and all sorts of specialists who can work with these algorithms.
So maybe it's not so much about jobs disappearing, but more about like a shift in the kinds of skills that are in demand.
Exactly. And that's not a new thing. Throughout history, new technologies have always disrupted the workforce.
Right. Like the invention of the car probably put a lot of blacksmiths out of business.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But it also created a whole new industry around automobiles.
Okay, that makes sense. But it still feels scary, you know? Like, how do we make sure people are prepared for this shift?
Well, one of the articles you sent talked about the importance of education and retraining
Oh,
programs.
yeah, I remember that one.
We need to invest in programs that help people develop the skills they'll need to thrive in an AI-powered world.
And it's not just about coding, right?
No, it's about broader skills too.
Mm.
Critical thinking, problem solving, adaptability, those are going to be essential in any field.
Okay, so we need to start thinking about the future of work not as like a battle between humans and machines.
Right, it's more of a collaboration, I think.
Yeah, yeah. AI can augment our capabilities, free us from tedious tasks, and let us focus on more creative and fulfilling work. At least that's the hope.
I think that's a really good way to look at it.
Okay, so we've talked about AI and jobs, but what about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
The societal impacts of AI.
Yeah, that's a huge topic. And I think your sources really highlight both the potential benefits and the risks of AI.
Right, it's like a double-edged sword.
It is. On the one hand, AI has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems. You've got articles here about AI being used to fight climate change, develop new energy sources, even cure diseases.
Yeah. One of the articles I was most impressed by was the one about using AI to monitor rainforests and stop illegal logging.
Oh yeah, that's an amazing application of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many others. Using AI to predict natural disasters, optimize transportation systems, personalize education.
It really does seem like AI has the potential to make the world a better place.
It does. But we also have to be realistic about the risks.
Right, like what if AI makes existing inequalities even worse? If the algorithms are trained on biased data, they could perpetuate those biases.
Absolutely. That's a huge concern. We have to be incredibly careful about the data we use to train AI systems and make sure it's representative and unbiased.
And what about surveillance? The idea of AI-powered systems constantly watching us is a little creepy, to be honest.
I agree. It's a tough balance between security and privacy, and
Hmm.
it's something we need to be very mindful of as AI becomes more powerful.
Yeah, it feels like we're at a turning point with AI. It has so much potential for good, but also the potential for harm.
I think that's a really good way to put it. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It depends on the choices we make as a society.
Wow, that's a lot to think about. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of AI in this deep dive.
We have. It's such a vast and complex topic, but I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from the basics of AI to its potential impact on jobs, society, and the planet.
You've done a fantastic job of breaking it all down, and I'm sure our listener is walking away with a much better understanding of AI.
I hope so. And, it's important to remember that this is just the beginning. AI is constantly evolving, so we need to stay informed and engage in the conversation.
Well said. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of AI. Until next time, stay curious.